About 3.5 years ago, I started a photography project called 52Frames. 52Frames is a creative community where participants shoot and submit one photo every week for an entire year according to a different weekly photo challenge or theme. You can find a lot of these Project 52s around with people using this concept to post an original song each week or a piece of poetry or even volunteer work. Since 2011, we've grown from a small group of people to over 300 participants from all over the world. We've had photo exhibits, and we have a weekly global audience of about 30,000 people. And these stats have been tripling every year. I'd just like to profile a couple members of our community so you get an idea of who we are. Les is a retiree from New York. Les now guides our New York City photo walks, and he told me that he's learned more about photography in the last 2 years in our project than in his last 65 years shooting photos. And he has not missed a week since starting the project. Anne is a photographer who runs photo tours in Cambodia and documents people's lives as they journey through Angkor. And Akiva, a surgical neuroscientist from Tel Aviv, who enjoys photography when he's not inside somebody's head. We have grandparents and teenagers, amateurs and professionals from all over the world, all of whom share two things in common: a passion for photography and the motivation to improve our skills. It's through this community that I'm able to fulfill my passion for enabling a creative space in people's busy lives, to motivate them to go out each week and take a picture, not for profit, but simply for its own sake. A space for them to grow, to learn, and frankly, just play. Our participants are encouraged to take each theme on as their own. So with the wide diversity that we have in the group, we really get to see a tapestry of creative interpretation. So I'm going to give you some examples of some previous weeks in our project. This was from last week, week number 7, and the theme was perfect. What would you guys have shot? Here's some examples. It's always that last blade of grass. This photographer is 15 years old. For me personally, this theme was not so inspiring. And then when I see the album and see the amazing creative interpretations, it really opens up your mind to think more and think differently for the next themes. Here's another example from last year. This was week 32, anthropomorphism, which is the attribution of human characteristics or form to anything other than human beings. In other words, the moment you look at a piece of furniture or object and realize it's looking right back at you. He only got confused when I took his photo. This guy's furniture is super heavy. This piece of genius is the underside of a table. Are you seeing the table or are you seeing the faces? Another example, this is from week number 9. Here are some examples. So you really start to see all the different creative interpretations because of the vast mix that we have from people from all over the world. Although sometimes getting the shot each week can be frustrating because of the deadline, it's the weekly deadline that's key. It's the structure of 52 frames that enables creativity in my life. The fact is, most adults today have not had structured time for creativity, experimentation, or play since kindergarten. You see, as children, our creativity is nurtured. We're given crayons or paints and building blocks. But from grades 1 and on, our creativity is essentially stifled in favor of nationalized testing, rote memorization, and standardized curriculum. Even arts and music classes are graded, and children just don't have the space to fail, and adults barely have the chance to even try. The US leads this depressing phenomena. In a Newsweek article from 2010 entitled "The Creativity Crisis," Dr. Young-Hee Kim reports that since 1990, we've seen a dramatic drop in CQ scores, or creative IQ tests, in children from grades 1 and on. At the same time that our children's creativity scores are waning, our society holds more value for creativity than ever before. In this same article, it identifies a poll of 1,500 CEOs that stated that creativity was the #1 leadership competency of the future. Creativity is the secret sauce most widely attributed to today's successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and startup ventures. Dr. Kim explains that creativity is not something you either have or you don't have, but rather it's a refined muscle that you can grow, make stronger, and continuously condition. It's for this reason I feel we should go back to our creative roots and start having fun again. To create a space where we're learning something and trying something, even failing at something in order to grow. A space where we can act more like children and see the world from a different perspective. This woman is on the floor of an Apple store in California because it was Furniture Week. A space where we can stop and smell the roses, or at least take photos of them. So with this space in mind, I'd like to invite the audience to share a creative exercise with me right now, and I'm going to attempt to get my shot for the week from up here on stage. The theme this week is forced perspective. Forced perspective is a photography technique where you can make an object appear closer or further away depending on the angle in which you shoot. So, since you're wondering why there's a toy dinosaur on the stage, I need you all to pretend that you're being attacked by a vicious Tyrannosaurus Rex. I need you guys to be really frightened, okay? It's really scary. I don't want you to run out of the room while I do this. That was worth it, even if the shot doesn't come out. That was Photography, I think, is the ideal playground for this kind of experimentation. In the last 5 years, we've seen a total democratization of photography, where we're never more than an arm's length away from a camera. From camera phones to Instagram to Google Glass, technology has completely revamped the way we look at photography. And I think 52Frames helps utilize these tools to weave creativity into our lives. After 3 years of this amazing project, I started noticing some interesting patterns and observations. In the last 2 years, I've seen statistics in the project that show that somebody that misses 1 week are 5 times more likely to miss weeks after that than those that have never missed at all. The project requires consistency. And this is where it becomes apparent that it's part photography project and part life project, because consistency is one of the most difficult things that we do as human beings. I think those that enjoy the process ultimately are able to deal with the weekly imperfection, because consistency does not breed perfection. You have only 7 days to get the shot. But the trick is, if you're consistent with it, you start to see vast improvement over time. And it breeds surges of creativity when you least expect it. And that's really what the project is about, to enable consistent creativity in your lives. Another great aspect that I noticed is that it creates a natural life diary where at the end of the year, you're able to look back at all of your submissions and see what you shot each week and who helped you out, or maybe what you even did that week. It's a great built-in way of documenting your year. What started out as a small group of people has really grown into an amazing community. First of all, with a community, you have accountability. Accountability is super important when you're dealing with a consistent project like this. But more than accountability, we've really become a family. Just last month, 20 of us flew over to London to meet with 300 other guests at an exhibit that one of our participants curated there. One framer recently told me that she feels more like herself in 52Frames than she does in her real life, as it's a place for self-expression without judgment. I think there's a certain vulnerability in creative play, and as a group, we all give each other the support and encouragement to try harder. It's amazing for me to see that I'm not the only one that's obsessed with shapes or colors or the way a tree looks in the winter, but my obsession is shared by 300 other people from all over the world, unified by a passion for photography and the understanding of the importance of creativity in our lives. But I think the most fascinating aspect of the project is not actually photography related. Every week I get an email or message from somebody in the group that tells me that it actually changes the way they look at their lives. It creates a paradigm shift where you're literally seeing things in front of you that you wouldn't have otherwise ordinarily see. For example, graffiti week is only a week long, but I started seeing graffiti all over the city for months. And although Shapes Week is the same 7 days, I started seeing all of these shapes and it stays with you. And I think that's what creativity does. It enables this perspective in your life that you wouldn't otherwise ordinarily see. So I'd like to encourage you all to tap into your own creative roots. Start your own creative project 52, whether it's 52 frames, or it's a song, a dance, or a poem. Start activating that creative muscle and find that creative space in your lives. Thank you.